Some cool stuff happened on Friday Night SmackDown, but this is what piqued my interest the most. The Street Profits were waiting for someone to arrive. Who could it possibly be? Maybe Bianca? Well, it's actually Bobby Lashley, and they're here to talk some business. Are we seeing the Hurt Business 2.0? I mean, Montez was already wearing a suit. It's super exciting. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the Street Profits are turning heel, but they're finally going to be portrayed a lot more seriously. They've been doing the same thing for years now. And let's be fair right here, it's the Hurt Business. They're eventually going to turn heel. I wish they would put Bianca into this as well, but I've heard she doesn't want to necessarily turn heel. And as excited as I am about this, I immediately thought, man, Cedric and Shelton. Come on. But of course, welcome back to another episode of Greatness of SmackDown. Let's talk about the rest that happened on this show. It kicked off with Jay arriving to the arena, and then we saw Bianca Belair talking about her championship match tonight. She's going to face Asuka for the Women's Championship. She says people say good things come to those who wait. Triple H literally said that about LA Knight, but she found it hard to follow that advice. Tonight is finally the night she's getting the championship rematch, and it's her night. We see Charlotte Flair, and they were actually pretty friendly. You know, Charlotte Flair wished Bianca Belair luck, and they talked about a potential match at SummerSlam. Charlotte made it clear she's next in line, and I feel like WWE did this whole segment for a simple reason. They kinda wanted to see how the crowd reacts to a potential Bianca Belair versus Charlotte match at SummerSlam, and it was fine. The crowd reacted, but it wasn't that crazy, and honestly, it's not necessarily a match that I'm crazy about, you know. I think it would be great, obviously, but taking the championship off Asuka right now, in my honest opinion, is a very big mistake. Then we saw Pretty Deadly versus the Brawling Brutes, which was actually a really fun match, and I still didn't change my mind, you know. I can't get excited about Pretty Deadly. I know they're good, that they're actually doing everything right. To me, the gimmick is just, it's something I've seen before, and honestly, I believe it never truly worked. But they picked up the W again. Their booking is pretty decent. I mean, they're winning all the matches, but I just don't feel like the crowd have any connection with them. Charlotte Flair said she's leaving SmackDown tonight because she's confident she will get her SummerSlam match against Belair. But Bayley says she's also confident tonight as Sky brings attention to her Money in the Bank briefcase. Flair decides to stay. And it's not necessarily because Charlotte Flair is such a good friend. I believe if Bianca Belair loses, she doesn't get the championship match. And we all know how much Charlotte Flair needs a championship, that poor thing. She never held one in the past few months. Then we got Bayley versus Zelina Vega. This was a short little match. It seems like, you know, Zelina Vega is kinda getting a push. She's losing a lot, but she's getting a lot of TV time. The crowd loves her, so I believe eventually she is going to become a champion, so it's just a matter of time. She lost tonight, of course. Okay, let's talk about Shotzi right here. Let's talk about Shotzi and this whole situation. I'm kinda disappointed in the WWE fans, which happens every day actually on Twitter. Just don't go to that place and you'll save your energy. So basically, Bayley cut Shotzi's hair in a backstage brawl. Then we saw a video of Shotzi, you know, cutting her hair, and she's pretty much bald right now. In kayfabe, she just tried to show how crazy she is. I was watching that video of Shotzi cutting her hair, and that basically happened to me like 2 days ago. I can't get it up anymore. It's just way too short. I ruined it. Anyway, people are being like, oh, Vince McMahon is ruining Shotzi because she doesn't have as much hair. And I don't think it's even that big of a deal, right? Who cares? She's changing up her look. It's not that big of a deal. But what people don't seem to realize is that Shotzi's sister has cancer. So she's trying to show support to her sister, which actually happens quite a lot. When someone you know gets cancer, you do the same thing to kind of show support. So yeah, it's a pretty fucked up situation. Even if it was just a random segment with nothing personal, it's not that big of a deal. Grow the fuck up. Then we heard from Jey Uso. He talked about his brothers. He says, when Jimmy feels anything, I feel the same thing. When he's hurt, I'm hurt. He never thought he would be hurt by a family member in a million years. He respects all of his family members except for Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, and Paul Heyman. We see Heyman and Sikoa. He says, you will be coming face to face with Roman Reigns next week. You're sounding more and more like the tribal chief every day. But you don't have self-awareness, and you don't have the consciousness needed to be the right-hand man. What happened to Jimmy is all your fault. No one in your family will forgive you. Sikoa tells Jey what happened to Jimmy is your fault. He will never forgive Jey. But then we got a big-ass brawl. Jey had enough. He had enough of talking. He even super kicked Paul Heyman. That was actually a pretty wild segment. And next week we're getting Roman, which I like that. Say what you will about Roman's WWE Championship reign. Yes, it kinda sucks he's not showing up every week. That's not even a big problem. My biggest problem is that he's not defending the championship at least once in 2 months, because then you're like, okay, he's the longest reigning champion in whatever years, but he really defended the championship. Like, at this point, is it even that impressive? But when it comes to Roman not showing up every week, I know it can sometimes suck, but every time he does show up, it's so special. He's basically like Brock Lesnar right now. When Brock is here, you listen. I think eventually we will see Solo Sikoa versus Jey Uso, and I'm pretty sure during that paper, which is probably Payback, I believe, we ain't seeing Roman. Then we got Grayson Waller, AJ Styles, Santos Escobar, Butch in a first round match for the United States Championship Invitational. This was a fun match, a lot of talented people, and it seems like WWE are pretty good with building these guys. I mean, Grayson Waller is pretty big after his match against Edge, Butch is getting a lot of TV time, Santos Escobar became kind of a star, AJ is AJ, so it seems like lately WWE know what they're doing. The only issue is we don't have that many interesting storyline. So this was a fun match with a very surprising ending. Santos Escobar actually won and he's moving on. I'm happy for the dude. He's not that over, but it's getting there. He's very likable. Also during this match we saw Karrion Kross attacking the OC, so it seems like this rivalry is still going on. He desperately needs a W against AJ, man, or this is just simply over. Next week we're getting another round match, and LA Knight makes his entrance with a gigantic pop again. After every sentence he makes, people are chanting yeah. You can tell this dude is so happy. He says everyone wants to use his name to get views and clicks on the internet. I don't know what you're talking about right here. You're just lies. Lies. Absolute lies. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. He's the best decision WWE ever made. Austin Theory's United States Championship is in trouble. He says he's coming for Theory and his title, and no matter what you call him, you will be calling champ soon. Whose game is this? LA Knight. Wonderful. Wonderful. Every week he's getting that reaction. I know some of you are probably disappointed that he's going after a midcard championship, but let's be fair right now. Midcard championships have really grown in the past year. Like, they matter right now. When you win a midcard championship against someone, it's a big deal. I mean, winning against Theory right now would be huge because he held that championship for, I don't know, hundreds of days now. Gunther, same thing. I don't feel like you should be disappointed. Finally, we got Asuka versus Bianca Belair for the WWE Women's Championship. This was a fun match, but you already knew something is about to happen. There's no way WWE, under Triple H's creative, could possibly make Asuka lose the championship already. She's doing so good. And I knew there was this possibility because they teased the match at SummerSlam, but I was like, they can't be that stupid. So, of course, we saw Io Sky, Bayley, then we saw Charlotte Flair. So we got this big-ass brawl until we got a disqualification. Then Io Sky tried to cash in, but we got Asuka with the mist. And that was your show, another unsuccessful cash in. But what I like about this is that a lot of women have their eyes set on the women's championship. And it kind of works for Asuka because, of the language barrier. So she can just watch everybody fight and sometimes spit on their faces. It's kind of badass. It's another decent episode of SmackDown. Not the best, but it seems like every other SmackDown is really, really good. We have one okay SmackDown, great SmackDown, okay SmackDown, great SmackDown, and that mostly, depends on whether Roman Reigns is here or not. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, the great one, peace, love, and hugs. It's been a pleasure.